All right, the time is now 5:01. I call this meeting of the Granbury Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. This board will now adjourn into executive session pursuant to the following sections. 551.072, discussion of purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Section 551.074, discussion of officers, employees, and personnel matters. And I believe that is it. The time is now 5:02. And we will adjourn into executive session. It's 6:10. The board is reconvening following executive session. We will have a short recess and then we will reconvene in open session. All right, we will now reconvene in open session and we will begin by an invocation. If you'll bow with me, please. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, how thankful we are for this day and for each and every blessing that you have given to us. We're so thankful for this Christmas season. And Lord, we just pray that you will give us this heart for love and faith and hope each and every day of the year. Lord, we just thank you for the opportunity to make decisions for this school district that would benefit our students, our teachers. And Lord, as we go through the holiday season, Lord, we just pray that you'll help remind us how fortunate we are to have each other and to remind each other that we care for each other. Lord, we are reminded that our lives are short. And Lord, we just pray that you'll be with friends and family that are suffering during this time. Lord, I just pray you'll be with us during our meeting. Help us to make decisions that are wise. And we thank you for the opportunity to be here. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. All right, we will now have our pledges led by students from Oakwoods. All right.
Good evening, Dr. Morosky, Board of Trustees, and our community. I just want to thank you for this opportunity for our kiddos to lead our pledges tonight. And I'm going to let Ms. Hunt, our Student Council representative, introduce you to our kiddos.
Hi, everybody. This is Davis Moore. He's the president of our Student Council this year. And this is Tate Marion. He's our vice president. Lily No is our secretary. And Emma Frederick, she is our public relations person this year.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
How do we put it up there? Okay. Good evening. My name is Chelsea Gibson, and I'm the principal here at Oakwoods. And I just want to say thank you for this opportunity that allows us to brag on our campus and to tell you all the wonderful things that are going on. With me tonight, I do have our assistant principal, Mr. Daniels. The one thing that makes Oakwoods truly a special place, it is the people. And over the past decade, our people have built a legacy of academic excellence. Over the past 20 years, Oakwoods has over the past 20 years, Oakwoods has been in the top 5 to 7% of elementary schools in the state of Texas. And that is just because of the staff that we have, their commitment to excellence to our students and to the community that we have as well. Whenever our educators, they set high expectations for our students rise to those expectations, and that is a norm that is within our campus. This record of success, it's just a testament to the spirit of our teachers, of our staff, and of our families. And it highlights the commitment to maintain a culture of excellence. And at Oakwoods, excellence is the norm, it's not the exception. On this slide right here, here we are to talk about our staff members. And whenever we talk about a staff of excellence and what we have at Oakwoods, that is what walks our halls every single day. We're fortunate to what I will say is one of the top staff. It is the top staff in the state of Texas that we get to work with every single day that educate our kiddos on a daily basis. The passion, the skill, and the excellence that they have for our kiddos, it shines, and it's what truly makes us stand out. This year, we have 5 staff members who are going to be retiring, and we are excited for them, but we're also sad for us. Of these 5 staff members, they have 158 years of experience in education. Of those 158 years, 81 of those years have been dedicated to Oakwoods. And so they have mentored, they have taught, and just the impact that they have made on our students and our staff, it is nothing that any report card or anything else that you're able to look at will ever be able to truly explain. And just their talent, the passion, and just their unwavering support that they have for our students, it's evident. We have a picture, just the years of experience as well. Majority of our staff, as you can tell, they are anywhere from 11 to 20 years of teaching in the field. This year we did have a first-year teacher, and we did unfortunately lose her to another campus that had numbers where they needed another teacher. And so we know that she is thriving where she's at, and she's being loved on with every opportunity as well. And so that is just for our staffing and retention. And so now I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Daniels.
All right, so Ms. Gibson talked a lot about, our academic achievement, our staff, our incredible staff and teachers. I'm going to focus a little more on our school culture and the opportunities we give students outside of academics. And so one of the areas that we try to emphasize at Oakwoods is community engagement. And so looking for opportunities and providing opportunities for our students to love and serve their community in a structured way. And so one of the things we do is our canned food drive. So students donate and bring food items that we then turn around and give to local food banks and shelters. Our student council tries to go outside of campus, and actually tomorrow they'll be visiting our senior citizens center, and they'll go sing Christmas carols. They have beautiful singing voices, I think. We're going to find out, and spread some Christmas cheer during the holidays. Our second grade raises money for an organization called Disabled American Veterans. And so you can see the picture there. They set up a field of flags. They do a Veterans Day program. And so through all these different ways, we're just trying to emphasize the importance of getting outside of our school walls and serving and loving on the people in our community. There it is. All right, so like the other campuses in our district, we're also focused on capturing kids' hearts, implementing that program. And so for us, it's been over the last year and a half. And based on our implementation year last year and the success we had there, we were recognized as a Rising Star campus. We were proud of that. And along with all the things that go along with CKH, a few things that we're focused on this year in particular is our classroom ambassadors. So trying to put students in a leadership role within their classroom where they're actually, leading their morning meetings, they're leading good things with their classes, they're greeting students at the door, they're kind of becoming the expert on the social contract in their classroom, where when a visitor comes into the room, they'll actually pull you aside and explain what the social contract is and talk you through that. We also have a principal student advisory committee in which our students are able to meet with Ms. Gibson and talk about the school culture and how that can improve and take a leadership role within that. All right, so we want Oakwoods to be a place where students love to come to school each day. And so as you can see from our pictures, we try to have a lot of fun. And a few things that I think, as far as our extracurricular activities, I think that we do really well. One of those is our academic UIL competitions. So anytime you can give our students an opportunity to show that they're better than other schools in Granbury, they're going to rise to the occasion. So they love that, and teachers love it too. So academic UIL gives us an opportunity to do that. And so if you weren't aware, as early as second grade, students can compete in academic UIL events, and that can go all the way through high school. And so events like maps, graphs, and charts, and ready writing, which I coach and which we dominate at every year. Right, Tate, it's one of my writers right there. And chess puzzles, which Ms. Gibson coaches and also dominates every year. But it just gives our students an opportunity to kind of get outside the typical academic areas that they have in elementary school and show off how intelligent and awesome they are. Another thing that I think our students really excel at is our musical performances. So each grade level does a music program, but our 4th and 5th grade really takes it to the next level with theirs. And so you can see some pictures there. We have Dan Odell as Zazu in The Lion King from last year. And the bottom corner is my daughter. I had to work one of my kids into this somehow. So that's my daughter as the Candyman in Willy Wonka from a couple of years ago. And so every year I'm just so impressed by our students and their singing ability and their acting ability and the set design. I think Mr. Neal has some personal experience in the costume design for our musical programs from a few years ago. A really nice teacup that actually has a picture on our wall at our school, a teacup costume. So our parents step in and contribute to that as well. And so just one more way that we try to make Oakwoods a place that kids want to be and love coming. And at the end of the day, just trying to remember that our students are kids and they deserve to have fun, and try to give them as many opportunities as we can to do that. So all right, so we're going to wrap this up with our student council officers coming back up. So we get a lot of feedback from parents, and we wanted to end by sharing some of that feedback from our parents that we appreciated and wanted you guys to hear. And so our students are going to read some of the feedback that we've gotten from parents recently.
I love that Oakwood School is truly there to love, support, and encourage the children to be the best versions of themselves. You can truly see the dedication from this team.
The staff goes above and beyond to help these kids thrive and make them love school. They don't hesitate to help when needed and love the kids beyond belief. The absolute best teachers and staff.
Oakwoods is home. It is so good for my heart knowing that when I drop my boys off every day, they are learning from the best, but more importantly, are loved and cared for. Couldn't be more proud and grateful to be an OWS family.
I love the warm welcome from all the staff. Moving to a smaller town from a large city like Denver, we were anxious about the transition for my daughter, but I was pleasantly blown away. The love Oakwoods has shown from the moment we walked in is truly a blessing. My daughter feels loved, supported, and challenged academically. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, your partnership, and your support of our students. Do you have any questions for us?
I don't think we have any questions, but boy, we sure are proud of you. Y'all have done a fantastic job, boys and girls, fantastic job. We are very proud of you, all the things that you have accomplished. Parents, do we have any of you out in the audience, any of the parents that want to claim? Would you please stand? Grandparents, we want to. Thank you so much for being here. We're very proud of Oakwoods. I am proud because I helped open that school in 1990. I was one of the very first teachers there. Yes, I taught fourth grade, and I was so proud to be there with our very first principal, Tom Taylor. And it was a fantastic place. It was so fun getting to open that school and be one of the first teachers in those brand new buildings. So, anyway, we want to invite y'all all up to have your picture made. So if you'll come right on up, we have our superintendent and assistant superintendent to have your picture made with.
We got to get your sweater. Ready? You'll look here. Ready? One. The parents are.
Of course. Of course.
Say Christmas. 1, 2.
All right, thank you very much, Oakwoods. All right, we will move on into our achievement spotlight. We have the American Volleyball Coaches Association Best and Brightest and Academic All-State. Coach Desiree Shahan, come on up.
Good evening, everybody. Want to say thanks for letting us not know that it was dress-up day. Super sad. And then we have to follow that. No, I'm just kidding. No, we appreciate you guys having us here tonight. We have some amazing girls that we want to honor tonight. And so I could talk for a long time about them on the volleyball court and everything that they bring in the locker room. But we're here to talk to them about what they bring to the classroom, and that's the most important thing. And so we're super proud of them. Academic All-State is awarded to seniors who meet the rigorous student athlete qualifications. This is an award that shows the determination and strive for excellence in the classroom as well as on the court. To be recognized at the state level and receive an All-State honor is most prestigious. I'm very proud of our student athletes on this team that meet the following requirements as set by the UIL, the THSCA, and the TGCA Coaches Associations. Good citizenship, finish the senior season in good standing, and have a cumulative GPA grades 9 through 12 of 94 or better. This award this year goes to all three of our seniors, which is Remy Chastain, Jayla Hayes, who couldn't be here today because she's at choir concerts. She's over at the high school. She said she couldn't be here today. And then Maddie Weaver. And Maddie Weaver was also named to the AVCA Best and Brightest, and they have a little bit different standards, but they all made it. All three of them are fantastic kids. We're gonna miss them so much, and we know that they're gonna do awesome on their next chapter in life. So thank y'all so much.
And while they are getting their pictures made, parents and family, we'd like for you to stand and be recognized at this time as well. And if you want to take pictures, come on down. All right, and next we have the Schottenkirk Senior of the Month. And we have our Schottenkirk representative that will be presenting this award.
Hello, everyone. My name is Misty Sneed. I am the new general manager at Schottenkirk Ford. I'm very excited to have discovered that we do a Student of the Month. And this month it is Mamie Moore. She is a proud Granbury pirate that has had the honor of attending Granbury schools her whole academic career, starting at Oakwoods, followed by AMS, and then currently at the high school. She's part of the soccer team. She has been since her freshman year and served as captain her sophomore and junior year. In addition to her dedication to sport, she's also dedicated to academics. She's a member of the National Honor Society and is in the top 10% of her class. In addition to this, she's also participates in the Leadership Council, the Optimist Club, and she volunteers each summer at the Vacation Bible School. This past summer, she went on a mission trip to Queens, New York, and volunteered with ESL Community Outreach Center. She currently works at Babe's Restaurant and loves the interactions that she has with her customers. She has been accepted to attend the University of Arkansas after graduation and is hoping to study hospitality and is excited for her future. So, congratulations. Okay.
And we have her proud parents here tonight as well, one sitting next to me and one in the audience. So we want to recognize them. And in case you didn't notice, this is Ugly Sweater Night.
Ready, 1, 2, 3, hold it. Just look here. Hold on, because he's gonna get his.
Congratulations, Amy. We are very proud of all of our students, the parents that back them up and support them. And it's always our pleasure to start our meetings out this way. We also have a lot of community donations that we're also proud to recognize. And Barbara Townsend, would you read those for this month, please?
I would be happy to. Donation from Audrey Dake, Edward Jones, to the GHS F1 Student Activity Account for a sponsorship, $1,000. Donation from the Campus PTO to the Bronner Campus Activity Account, to fund the first grade field trip to Casa Mañana, $1,312.50. Donation from the campus PTO to the Oakwoods campus activity account to fund the fourth grade field trip to the Stockyards, $1,760. Donation from the Granbury Pirate Basketball Booster Club to the basketball campus activity account to fund the Round Rock Tournament, $2,938. Donation from Lady Pirate Soccer Booster Club to the Lady Pirate Campus Activity Fund to fund the Midway Waco Tournament, $3,601. Donation from the Lady Pirate Basketball Booster Club to the Lady Pirate Campus Activity account to fund the Corpus Christi Tournament, $2,900. Total donations from our community to Granbury ISD this month, $13,511.50. Thank you all so much.
All right, we'll move right along to our superintendent's report.
All right, thank you so much. A couple of announcements. We always like to celebrate kids when they do something either at the state level or national level. And we just found out, I believe, over the weekend that Viola Allen earned a third place in the USA Shooting Winter Air Gun Championship for our JROTC program. So super proud of her and that team as always. As a reminder, our STARS graduation happens this Thursday at 7 o'clock. We'd love to have you there. It is at Granbury High School in the auditorium. Also, we had two great middle school performances. Both of them, both Acton and Granbury Middle School, had some musical performances and did a wonderful job. Another exciting announcement is that our Golden Pirates, which are 55 plus group, is going to start meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and we get a performance by the GHS choir singing Christmas songs. So if you haven't signed up, we'd still love to have you. 10 o'clock, show up. You get a Golden Pirate t-shirt, which is super exciting. And then as a reminder, we have early release on Thursday for both staff and students. We hope that everybody here and all of our staff and students have a joyous Christmas season. And we will see our staff back on January 6th and students back on January 8th. So Merry Christmas to everybody in the audience.
All right, thank you very much for that. We will move right along to public comments. Our Board of Trustee values hearing directly from our community and appreciates those who take the time to share thoughts and perspectives during the public comment portion of our board meetings. Your input helps guide our work and keeps us connected to what matters most to our families, staff, and community members. Here are a few reminders about the guidelines for patrons wishing to speak during public comments. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Speakers must state their name and any organization they represent and direct all remarks to the board. The board cannot hear complaints about individual employees in open session, as those matters must be addressed in executive session. Thank you for your participation. Our first speaker for tonight is a parent, Cherie Westland.
Thank you, trustees and superintendent. I wanted to speak on item 11, the calendar. The calendar, I've noticed the last couple of years have left the election day off, and I'd really like us to consider that in the future for election day for our teachers. This time it's already too late, but I would really like for that to be considered when we have options. Second, I'm speaking in support of moving Granbury ISD trustee terms from 3 years to 4 years, shifting the elections to odd numbered years. This isn't about governance, it's about stewardship. It's about building stability in the district long after this board has been rotated off. 4-year staggered terms give trustees time to learn before they have to lead and lead before they have to exit. The structure gives strengths in relationships between the board and the superintendent and the staff. Stable governance supports stable leadership supports staff retention supports students. There's also a clear financial benefit, cutting administration costs in half and the opportunity to cut costs even more than that because of the barrage of public information requests seen specifically during election and the time that the staff has to devote to it. Cutting costs in half is a very conservative move. This truly gives voters a break in Hood County because voter fatigue is very present in this county. Less political distractions for our community to be focused on and more learning. The shift to odd numbered years helps school board races continue their plight to be a nonpartisan by design. They should stay focused on students, classrooms, and community values. This allows voters to focus on direct issues that affect the district, and this encourages thoughtful engagement rather than politics over students. Many Texas districts have already used this staggered 4-year term, and this model reflects common governance practices across the state. It prioritizes stability, continuity, and long-term planning. Most importantly, this decision invests in the future of trustees. It gives incoming board members time to learn the district. It gives them time to contribute meaningfully, and it preserves to the district's does not reset the direction every election cycle. This is not about power. It's not about politics. It's about responsible governments. Again, cutting election costs in half. For this reason, I support the move to a 4-year trustee term on odd number election years. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Renee Shardy.
Good evening, board. Again, my name is Renee Shahardy, and it's a pleasure to be in front of you guys. I know most of y'all fairly well. I want to talk about the moving the terms from 3 to 4 years tonight. There's 4 points I want to make. The first one I want to talk about is the cost. Just real quickly, there would be a reduction in overall cost. I think that's intuitive, and we know that. However, there's another cost that needs to be factored in, and that's the human cost. And what I'm talking about there is when we take this move, we know our county's about split in half in how they think about the school district. And so if we just go that way, we're going to have them think we're cutting them out. That's a possibility. So a compromise I'd ask you to think about is that we go with the extended terms, but we move it to the congressional, to the even years. And that way more people are brought in as opposed to pushed out. The second point are terms and performance. I looked at studies done. There's no study that correlates board terms with student performance. It's not out there, or I couldn't find it. District success is based on strong governance, accountability, and a relentless focus on student achievement. I'd propose another compromise in this area if we go with the 4 years. I propose that we have a 2-term limit. So go 2 terms, but put a limit on it. Stop it after 8 years. In fact, school board members, their most efficient time is a 5 to 7 year period on a school board. That's when they perform the best according to the studies I saw. The third thing is timing. We just came out of a really hard-fought election. This is not necessarily the best time to bring this up because there's a half of the community that, feels where they lost, let's say, if you want to look at it that way. So if we want to move ahead, and we want to consider unity and healing, it might be a good time just to back off on this just a little bit, maybe a few months. Give time for people to focus in. Anyway, and the last thing is classroom impact. The proposal does not directly support teachers or improve outcomes for the students. It does affect the board, and it does affect stability. I agree with the young lady who spoke before me in that sense. But we need to be relentlessly focused on our school, teachers, the classrooms, the teachers and the students. I'm out of time. You all have a wonderful Christmas. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Devin Hash. Oh, no, David. Oh, I'm sorry, David Rogers.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Morowski. I'm David Rogers. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you this evening. I signed up to speak about item 12A, which is changing the terms of the election of our school board trustees. One of the concerns I have with this, if you do what everybody else did, you're going to get what everybody else got. And in Texas, that's not necessarily a good thing. According to the Texas Education Agency, Texas this year ranks 41st out of 50 states in education achievement. Only 24% of 8th graders in the state of Texas can do math and read at grade level. According to Governor Abbott, over $90 billion, the highest amount ever spent on public education in Texas. So most of the other school districts that's implemented going to these elections in only odd number of years, it's deteriorated, it's weakened public education. And I could see the effectiveness of going to a 4-year term. I could see the efficiency of that. My concern with this is by going to only odd number of years, you're going to suffocate and silence the voice of the people in our community that want accountability, they want transparency, and they want truth. It's hard to get a buy-in from the community when you're trying to silence half of it. And, even though everybody doesn't agree per se, everybody should have a voice. I've heard that they're going to do some cost savings by going to the changing this. I can see the 4-year term, but what about the cost savings of the 3 failed bond elections in less than 24 months? When it was obvious that the work was not done to get a buy-in from the community, they wasted thousands of dollars doing these bond elections when the credibility for it when the community was not there. What we need to do is increase transparency and truth and get a buy-in from the community so that the next time you do a bond election, you actually have a reasonable path forward. This doesn't do that. What this does is try to silence, again, the First Amendment rights of people in the community that have concerns about transparency and truth. I understand Dr. Morowski's been here a very short time. She's not been here long enough to change the ship in the right direction. I understand Mr. Neal and Dr. Lawrence are new to the board, but we have incumbent trustees on this board that have been here, that have rubber stamped things that were against the Texas Ethics Code and that were wrong. The First Amendment, the only reason it exists is for people you don't like saying things you don't agree with. How much is the First Amendment worth? Going to these elections in odd years is going to silence conservatives in our community. Our trustee, Tim Bolton, in 2024 set a record for Hood County for over 17,000 votes. He set the all-time record. Going to this would eliminate that. That stops the conservatives from having a voice on the board. Everybody should have a voice whether you agree with them or not. Thank you.
All right, now Devin Hash.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Devin Hash. I am a Hood County taxpayer and registered voter. I recognize that the board has an obligation to be fiscally responsible, and I respect that duty. However, I want to be very clear that I am deeply concerned about the proposal to move ISD trustee elections to an off-cycle or odd year. While this change may reduce administrative costs, it will almost certainly come at the expense of voter participation. Texas has a long and well-documented history of dramatically lower turnout in off-cycle, low-visibility elections. Here in Hood County, voter turnout in 2022 was over 50%, and in contrast, in the 2023 off-cycle election, turnout dropped to under 5% of registered voters. That is not a small difference. That is the difference between broad community participation and decisions being made by a very small fraction of the public. When turnout drops that low, elections stop reflecting the will of the community as a whole and instead amplifies the influence of small organized groups. That concern is especially serious given that GISD is the largest employer in the county. Even if no influence is intended, structuring elections this way creates the appearance that those with direct employment interest could have disproportionate sway over who governs the district. Public trust matters, community confidence matters. I strongly urge this board to reconsider this proposal. The community is paying attention, and we expect decisions that strengthen and not weaken our democratic process. Thank you.
Don Johnson.
My name is Don Johnson. I'm a resident of Hood County. I appreciate you putting out the background information on these topics, because that's what I found that was put out here. It was put out just before, and it references House Bill 3546. Did y'all read that bill? You did. Everybody read it, right? What that bill talks about? Moving the election from May to November. Have we already done that? Yeah, we already done that. Why would you reference a bill like that when you wanted us? I think it was put on there to impress everybody that this is being legislated. And I wish somebody would ask a question. Read that bill. It's a short bill, and just read it through and see if it talks about anything except moving the elections from May, which most people still have, until November. You've already done that. So it has nothing to do with it. Last presidential election, 70% of registered voters turned out in this county. 56 turned out in the previous election in 2022. The odd number of years, you know what you get? 20% of the people turn out. The odd years are what I call the amendment election. I served on a school board. I sat in those chairs many years ago in 1980, believe it or not, for 6 years. We had 3-year terms. So 2 years and I was out. So that is not the place to put odd number elections. Nobody looks at that. That's the amendment election. That's what everybody called it. I call it. I've been working in election for 40 years. That's the amendment election. Yeah, they got a few things. The amendments all passed. 99% of them all passed because they're all Republican elections, and they all put forth by, you got to have some Democrats to support them. But that's it. Now, 4 years, I don't mind 4 years. 2 terms. 2 terms. Trump shouldn't sit there with 2 terms. If you put him in for 4 years, everybody should be happy with 2 terms. And that's fine. Odd number of years, that's crazy. You're not doing anything good for people. You're doing it for you. Because you want to control who gets to vote. Because you know, every one of you have followed elections. You know the odd number of year elections are very small turnout. You don't need that. We need more people voting for you people. So go check that bill and see if that really relates to what you're doing. And I appreciate it. I appreciate you working on this. I don't think this is the time to do it. I know you're under pressure. But there's nothing in that particular bill that relates to what you have to do right now. Do you understand that? Read the bill before you vote. Thank you very much.
Allison Olam.
I am here tonight to speak in favor of lengthening the school board terms to 4 years. Our community during election season becomes a war zone. Currently, we are going back to the polls every year, which I believe does not give our community time to heal. Voter fatigue is high. People are exhausted. It seems that as soon as signs go down, new signs go up. Every year, there is another set of door hangers, another round of door knocking and door answering, and another year with tension and no end in sight. The community as a whole needs a break with time to cool off and mend fences. Extending school board terms to 4 years would allow for a more stable and less contentious election. I would encourage all governmental policy bodies to do the same. Thank you.
Zeb Ullum.
I do just want to address the elephant in the room tonight and let each and every one of you know that y'all look amazing. I need to know where Stuart gets his clothes. I come to you today just in simple support of item 12A, the consideration of the trustee terms from 3 to 4 years in length. As an actively voting citizen in Hood County and in the city of Granbury, it is my experience that the voting public experiences what we call election fatigue, as it seems that political signs and social media ads flood our eyes and minds for what feels like a majority of the year, every year. If we want to increase voter turnout and have more voices in Hood County using their voice and their vote in every election, I strongly encourage making this move so that voters experience less election fatigue and feel more like getting out to vote when it is time because those days are special and not so redundant. By making this change tonight and setting a new schedule, perhaps other elected bodies in Hood County will be inspired to make a similar change, and we can get Hood County on a collective schedule that avoids election fatigue and in turn encourages elector turnout. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move right along. We will now consider items discussed in closed session. First, we will consider staff recommendations. Do I have a motion?
Madam President, I move that we approve the staff recommendations as presented.
And I will
Do I
second.
have a second? Barbara? We have a motion from Mike Moore and a second from Barbara Townsend. All those in favor, raise your hand. All right, motion 6-0. We have Courtney absent. Motion carries. And our next item is personnel. We have a catastrophic leave request. Do we have a motion?
Madam President, I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right, is that motion to approve the request?
Yes.
All right. We have a motion from Calvin to approve the catastrophic leave request and a second by Tim Bolton. All those in favor, raise your hand. All right, the motion passes 6-0. We'll move right along to the consent agenda items. Does anyone have any consent items they want removed? If not, I will accept a motion to approve consent agenda items.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion from Tim Bolton to approve all consent agenda items as presented. Do I have a second?
A second.
We have a second from Mike Moore. All those in favor, raise your hand to approve consent agenda items. We have a vote of 6-0 to approve all consent agenda items, none against. All right, we're moving right along. We will go on now to our discussion items. 12A, discuss and take action on proposed changes to trustee term and election dates. Dr. Morosky.
Yes, and so I do want to say a couple of things. I did put together this memo on behalf of two board members. And I want to make one comment about something that was stated about the timeline. Originally, we did look at Senate Bill 1494, which specifically had a trigger date of December 30th. So that's how this agenda item ended up on the December agenda. So strictly on the Senate Bill, Senate Bill 1494 talked about moving to odd numbered years, but you had to do it by, in 4-year terms, you do it by December. So that began, and we put it on the agenda. And you know, the new law, we have to post things on the agenda much 72 hours, business hours. So we have to post it last Tuesday. And then as we're learning more, we actually figured out we didn't qualify for that one because we already were in the November election. So we used House Bill 3546, which does allow us to move from 3 to 4 years. So that's kind of the the timeline or the thinking behind it is that we thought we had to do something in December, and it ended up that we don't have to do something in December, which is why we changed the wording. Instead of discuss and take action, we changed the wording on the agenda item to discuss and possibly take action if that's what the board chose to do. So I just wanted to give that update to the community. And then, as you mentioned, most people have already identified there's two parts that are being proposed based on House Bill 3546, and it is changing terms of the board members from 3 to 4 years, and then moving the other part of the proposal is to move to odd numbered years. The moving from 3 to 4 years causes a bit of a transition problem, and so you'll notice that included on the memo, it doesn't really impact the current board. It would be fully into effect in 2031 is when that first implementation would be on track for that. So that is in the memo. I'm happy to discuss and answer any questions or give it over to the board members who would like to talk.
All right, we're open for discussion.
Well, I'll start. I think I agree with just about everybody who came up here. I could acquiesce to the 4-year terms and move away from 3-year terms. I get that. I like the idea of giving the people a way to keep elected government accountable. And so more frequent elections certainly accommodates that. But I also understand, having been here, that I can appreciate the idea of the continuity of the board and being able to carry that forward for more than a year as the entire board sitting. So I can appreciate that. It's the odd year elections idea that gives people angst and anger. I think we heard from several people who made that point. We're elected by the people to represent the people. And as such, the best way to represent the people is by taking larger sampling of the will of the people. And that can only be done during even number of years because they always have greater voter participation. If you can give me a slide, please, Ryan. So just, I went and looked at the numbers. And so here in Hood County, and this only counts Hood County, this isn't the other counties that also participate in our elections, but because our footprint is bigger than the county itself, or certainly expands into other counties. And so if you look, the most recent election was a fairly big one for an odd year election, that there were 28% or roughly 28%. And then in the year before, in 2024, 71 plus, 25% in 2023. So the contrast is there. Hit me one more time, please, Ryan. So you can see the contrast in those numbers is that they're very low on the odd number years. And I don't think that's a very good sampling of the will of the people when we do that. We can, Ms. Hash pointed out, that you're not taking a very good sampling, and then special interest can certainly take a special interest in those elections and have undue influence there. So the next page for me, please. So in terms of even year and odd year elections, you can just keep hitting them and bring them down. So the idea of improved governance continuity is the same in even year and odd year elections. So that benefit is there. The reduced election frequency is there in so much as you have the same in even and odd year. The cost savings for the district.
Hey, Tim, sorry. I didn't get this in advance. Is this something you submitted in advance, graphics? I didn't get these in advance.
No, how far in advance do you want them?
Well, I think the board operating terms are to submit them in advance.
Okay, we'll take that down.
I'm fine with it. I didn't know that it was.
Yeah, that's fine. So so the point is that it's the same on both sides, except when you want to address the voice and the will of the people, when you're in odd number of years, just based on the election turnout, is down to less than 28% and greater than 70% in the odd
If you'll
number.
take the graphic down, please.
Yeah, that's fine. You can take it off. One more time. There you go. So the point is that it's the cost savings and all of that are all the same in the years that follow.
Who has the graphic?
Yeah, that's not a district.
We say take the graphics down. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so that said, I'll submit the compromise position and move that this board adopt 4-year terms beginning November of 2030 and continuing to coincide with November elections on even number of years thereafter, with a term limit of 2 years. I mean, excuse me, a term limit of 2 terms.
Can we legally do term limits?
Yeah, okay, so I'll strike that last. I only added it in light of the several public comments that said that. So let me restate. So I'll say that I'll submit to the compromise position to this board that we move to adopt 4-year terms beginning November 2030 and continuing to coincide with the November elections on even number of years thereafter.
One thing, what we're looking for today is guidance. I need to know which direction the board wants to go so that I can bring back some motions for you to approve. So what we're doing is gathering information. This is discussion. You can possibly tell me to take action, but this is, I don't even know what to bring to the attorney or our policy people. So really today is about gathering the direction that you want me to go, and then I can bring you guys back some things to vote on. So does that help your motion?
Sure.
I mean, because we don't have to vote. You can just have a conversation about it and give me guidance.
Right.
I thought we were in discussion and take action.
It's discussion and possible action if you want to. We originally thought that we were going to have to take action because of the December timeline, but that bill does not qualify for us. So we don't have to take action today. So I have not proposed a policy or resolution. I'm trying to get guidance from you guys if you'd like to move forward.
That's my guidance.
He can make a motion, and if there is a second, we can vote on it. According to the Robert's Rules of Order.
I make the motion and someone else can second. Is that
And
what
someone
you're
will have to make a second. Is there a second? You want to repeat your motion?
saying? Certainly. The motion is that this board adopt 4-year terms beginning November 2030 and continue from that point to coincide with the November elections on even years thereafter. Four-year terms starting November 2030, coinciding with November elections on even years thereafter.
In what year? 2026?
2030.
2030.
I think that's beyond the term of anyone who's currently on the board. So we're not influencing our own or extending our own terms.
Madam Vice President, I have some comments.
Okay. All right. Is there a second? Okay, so your motion dies for lack of a second. Okay. Discussion.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Last November, I hit an anniversary of sorts in that last month, I passed 22 years since I passed the bar exam. And in the last 22 years, one of the things that I've done virtually every single day is review complicated statutes and try to analyze those. And I have some concerns about this proposal, not necessarily the 4-year term or even putting on odd years. I think those are actually good things, and I'm in support of those things. What I'm concerned about is the actual statute that we're looking at. House Bill 3546 was codified in the Education Code as Section 11.059. And there's a specific part in there that says the transition, if we vote to approve this transition from a 3-year term to a 4-year term, the statute literally says this transition must begin with the first regular election for trustees that occurs after the board adopts the resolution. And a trustee who serves on the date the resolution is adopted shall continue to serve the remainder of that term. And the legislature is usually, well, not even usually, every single time they write a statute, it includes either a shall, a must, or a may. And when it says may, those things are optional. You can do those things. If it says shall or must, you don't have a choice but to do those things, or you're in violation of the law, right? So my concern is not the transition itself, it's the waiting till 2031. Because I think that if we agree to extend these terms from 3 years to 4 years, it has to take place at the next election, which would be next year, right? Because that's what the law says. It says this transition must begin with the first regular election. So I kind of took some notes, and my proposal, what I mapped out to be in accordance with this statute, if we wanted to extend to 4 years and put it on odd number years, What I think we would do is places 1 and 2 would be extended to 2027, and there'd be no election next year. And then places 3 and 4 were already on 2027, so they would just stay on 2027. And then 5, 6, and 7 would be extended 1 year to the 4-year term and would run in 2029. And that would immediately put the transition in place, like the law says, and would also give you the 4-year terms that we're looking for. Now, the other thing is that you don't have to make a decision. We don't have to make a decision. The law says we don't have to do anything until 2030. So my recommendation right now would be that we table this idea, we talk to the attorney about this idea, and we ask if they can give us an opinion as to what that sentence specifically means. Does that mean that we have to put transition right now, mean the elections have to switch right now? Or does that must begin with the first regular election? Does that mean that we could simply have a plan in place? But I think we need an opinion on that. And I'm not comfortable moving forward until we get an opinion on that, because I don't want to do anything that's going to put us in liability or in direct violation of what that statute plainly says. So I'm just asking that we slow it down a little bit. We maybe talk to the lawyer and get an interpretation.
Help me understand your concern again, Dr. M, about that we had a December deadline, but now we don't.
Yeah, so originally there were two bills that kind of go hand in hand. And so Senate Bill 1494 specifically said that organizations that were having their officer elections in May could switch it to November, but the trigger date was you had to do it, and it specifically said odd numbered years, which was interesting that it said that. But the trigger date was December 31st of this year. So that was our original, like, we have to do something fast if that's what the board chose to do. We don't qualify for that because we already have our elections in November. So that does not pertain to us. So the other one that goes hand in hand with this is HB 3546, which talks about shifting from 3 to 4 years. And then it doesn't say specifically odd or even. It just says you have to have a transition plan as must have must do it after the next election. So that's 2030. 2030. So to use that, okay, you can't just switch from 3 to 4 year terms. You either have to have like a legislative approval or a reason to do it, which is why we slowed this down originally, because we knew the election season was happening. And so this bill was, I'm going to use the word trigger again, for being able to switch. You can't, as a board, decide all of a sudden to switch from 3 to 4 years. You have to have either a legislative approval or a resolution from a legislator, we all know, or a bill that's just been enacted. And so that's what this is. And it does give us till 2030.
So Stuart, give me again, please, I'm sorry, are you finished?
No, I'm done.
Yeah, thank you. So your kind of opening remarks was that the problem with it, the way that it reads, is that it would start in 2031. My suggestion was 2030, but you said it has to start next year.
So the same subsection that talks about changing the term, and I've got the statute in front of me, the same subsection that talks about changing from 3 years to 4 years, the last sentence of that subsection says, and I quote, "The transition must begin with the first regular election for trustees that occurs after the board adopts the resolution, comma, and a trustee who serves on the date the resolution is adopted shall serve the remainder of that term." Now, I interpret that as being, if we sign a resolution in February, that transition process happens at the very next election for trustees, which would be November of 26, not November of 2030. And so what I'm asking is we need to get clarification on what that means.
I'm happy to do that. So it is your business.
I move that we empower Dr. M to go do further research on those options as discussed.
We have a motion to allow Dr. Morosky to do some more research on this matter. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, a second by Dr. Lawrence. All those in favor, raise your hand.
Okay, just to make sure that I understand, I'm going to go and research if
that's a little.
the must. And we don't have to vote on it. You guys, when we have discussion, you can give me guidance and we don't have to vote. So my guidance from you is that you'd like a little more information about Stuart's bringing this idea of the must. Let me get some legal opinions on that and bring it back to you. And then we are not under the time frame that we initially thought when we put it on the agenda item. So there was originally a rush, but there is no rush right now to make this decision. So I'm happy to bring you back more information.
Should I further, we want to put a time box on that? Should I further move that we have an answer by February? Yeah, okay.
So I can bring you back something in January for us to discuss again, if you'd like. February? Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Let's
We
do
want you to have
February.
Christmas too.
Yes.
I would also like to read a statement from, well, it's a long statement.
Never mind.
I'll summarize it. Our President Courtney Gore is out of town, and basically what she wanted for us to know is that she supports the idea of a 4-year term, basically because it adds to the team building of a school board, and that it allows us to work, it builds consistent leadership, it allows for strategic focus, that it allows that team to work directly with the superintendent better, and that it allows them to work more fully to complete the vision and mission of the school district. And so she wanted that us to know that she does support a 4-year term. And I would also like to say that I support that as well. And that the plan that was originally drawn up was to really not to directly impact any of us. That we see this as a plan that would direct the school board on down the road. That this is something that we see as a decision on down the road that would impact the school boards in the future. And so I feel like it would help.
May I add to that? So I think that one of the things that I want you to find in terms of the research you're going to do in the next 2 months or so is the question on the closing statement on the legislation that Stuart read to us, where I can't decipher if that means that those who would be elected next November would come in with 4-year terms, or if it would retrofit us to
Correct.
an additional year term.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't think that would apply, right? Yeah. She didn't sign up for 4 years.
No, not so much that. The thing that bothers me with that is the public elected us for 3 years. And to then come back and say, oh, we changed our mind, we're going to make it 4.
Yeah,
I have a real problem.
That's right. Me too.
If something like this is going to happen, it needs to happen after us.
That's right.
All right, thank you for that discussion. All right, we will move on now to item B, discussion and review of legal policy changes in update 126. Tammy.
Good evening. I know you are excited to get the legal policy update 126. This was a pretty meaty legislative session, and so I have a small notebook to go through. Don't worry, I hit the highlights. All right, so there were so many education-related laws and it shifted legal policy and some of our local considerations that are going to come up in the new year. There are a few. I picked 12 with Dr. M. We looked over and found 12 of higher interest to discuss with you that we thought were probably of interest to you or of interest to our community. This policy that's legal is not required for board approval. It's a discussion regarding some of the new ones so that everybody is on the same page. And the legal will be updated online after this meeting.
So board policy structure has different sections. Section A is all about accountability. So in Update 126, there were 7 different ones just on the basic district foundation and accountability, and I'm not going over any of those. Section B talks about local governance, and so things that drive your board governance. There are 13 of those, and there are a couple in there that we picked. Section C is about business. There's a couple that we have already been looking at that we're going to remind ourselves of, but I'm not going to go through all 34 of those. You're welcome. Section D is about HR and personnel, and there were 20 new legal policies for either new legislation that altered other personnel policies, 20 of those. In Section E, instruction, about teaching and learning, special programs, and testing, there were 30. Section F is all about students and student discipline and a lot of different student things. There were 32 new board policies for Section F, and then 7 that were through community and governmental relations. So that totals 143 legal policies that I could stand up here and talk to you about today, but I am going to hone in on 12 with you. So for local governance, I'm looking at BE, and I'm only going to go over the parts that have changed in each one of them. The policies are super meaty. There's a lot that you can talk about board meetings. But for this purpose tonight, I'm only going to go over the changes. I have some things that Dr. M and I are going to talk about that are highlighted in pink that are interesting, but I'm only going to talk about the changes. So board minutes are going to now, moving forward, reflect each member's attendance and each member's vote on any item that is voted on. And so that is a change that was made legislatively. And so that is something that you are going to be seeing. And also that we have to post the board agenda 3 business days, full business days instead of 72 hours. So that's the general board meeting. If you move to BEC legal, that talks about closed meetings. BEC talking about closed meetings, they added a couple, there's a lot of things that you can talk about in closed session. There's a couple that are new. It added cybersecurity, meaning any measure taken to protect a computer network, computer system, or other technology infrastructure against unauthorized use. That can be talked about now in closed session. And then any critical infrastructure facility. The ones that govern us that apply is mostly communication infrastructure systems, cybersecurity systems, electric grid and power things, water intake structures, water pipelines, related support facility equipment and property. Those are the ones that probably might come up in school board meeting closed session. So those things were added as closed session topics. That's all I picked for governance. So under business and support services, there were a few different ones that we need to discuss. CH legal talks about purchasing. We picked this one because there was a change in the competitive procurement threshold from $50,000 to $100,000. Our local practice is going to still bring the items to the board between $50,000 and $100,000 for informational purposes, and that we feel like is a good practice to maintain the transparency. That's a discussion we've already had this year, and so that's coming from CH legal. CHE legal talks about vendor disclosures and contracts. The important parts there really circle around the Texas Ethics Commission with the vendors. And so it makes it a criminal offense for any vendor to bid on or enter in a contract with the district if there's a close relationship with the trustee. They define the close relationship. If you want to look into that deeply, it's in CHE legal. I think that's not really a problem, but if you're interested in that, to know how close you need to have as a relationship for them to be, that's actually the vendor's responsibility.
CK Legal, Safety Program and Risk Management. The change here is to ensure that the plans, our emergency operations plan, for specific campuses or facilities include recommendations for the accommodations for a student on an IEP or a plan created under Section 504. This is a practice we've been doing for a few years in GISD, and so that's not a huge change for us, but now it's in legal policy and a best practice. CNC Legal, Transportation Management and Transportation Safety. The big change here is that by September 1st of 2029, buses need to have a 3-point seatbelt for each passenger. There are also some required reporting that is between now and then, but by 2029, that is a requirement. So we'll be talking about buses a lot between now and then. Sure.
I believe that Emmett, so do you know?
What? How about we get back with you with that?
Ready for that.
We do have that data, but we something off our head. Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to catch you up. No, we are working on a report. We have to have that reported by March to the state. So we have to work on it with Brian, and we do know we have a substantial amount of our schools.
Yes.
Yes.
I have the reports in my email. We have all the data. I'm going to bring it to the board next month. Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Yes. So the requirement is to bring it to the board by the end of the 25-26 school year. So we are going to be early, January 12th. Good job, team. All right, so for personnel, there's a few that stand out. DBA is really, really long, but there were some changes to teacher certification requirements, especially with teacher permits, emergency permitting and things like that, as well as some changes in who has to have CPR certification. And so now mandatory CPR certification includes CPR and AED. Sorry, I did this so that it would be really easy for me to find. School nurse, assistant school nurse, athletic coach. Some of these are not different than it's been before in the past. Athletic coach or sponsor, physical education instructor, marching band director, cheerleading coach, any other employee specified by the commissioner has to have CPR and AED. And so they are lining that out. Most of those were already on it. There are a couple of additions, but that's it. So that's it for DBA. DFBA is for term contracts, suspension and termination during a contract. And the change in that section is more about the reporting provisions that are in effect. So the principal of a district has to notify the superintendent no later than the 7th business day after the date of an educator's termination of employment of an alleged incident of misconduct described by a certain education code, and then also no later than 48 hours after the principal becomes aware of evidence of misconduct described by a different part of that education code. And you can look up those things. That's our job to know which ones those are. And I have it here, but misconduct, 7 days or 48 hours, depending on the misconduct. All right, so for DG Legal, employee rights and privileges, this is a new provision that you may, so here's where your mays come in. The Board of Trustees may adopt a policy requiring every campus of the district or school to provide students and employees with an opportunity to participate in a period of prayer and reading of the Bible or other religious text on each school day in accordance with this section. This is requiring a board decision by March 1st, so it will come back to you in January whether you think that there needs to be some time out of the school day for that moment, or if that's a family moment, and that's going to be completely up to you. But we will bring you some local policy to consider in that regard. And there has to be, if you don't do a local policy, then you have to make that decision by March 1st.
Tammy, don't we already have a moment of silence at every single one of our schools every single day?
We absolutely do.
But this would be, I think the intention of this is to be time for reading as well. Regardless of whether you adopt a policy, it still doesn't prohibit any student or employee from participating in prayer or reading the Bible at any time during their free time that is not designated as a period of prayer, right? So that doesn't keep them from doing it. It's just designating a stop and silent and read or pray time, if you want to designate that time in the school day or not. We do have a moment of prayer, a moment of silence.
Silence.
And that would not change if you did nothing. But if you choose to not adopt a local policy, you have to make that decision before March 1st.
But you're saying that our moment of silence does not do this.
Well, and that's for you guys to discuss. If our moment of silence is intended for that, yes, then we'll make it that time. And then we'll designate the moment of silence for that time. And then it'll have to probably be designated a certain period of time.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. All right. It's not going. I'm trying. Did I turn it off? No. Oh, you got me? Okay. So students, the student section on FA legal, parent rights and responsibilities. Oh, in my jersey. Awesome. I love that. I'm excited. Okay, so policy on parental engagement. So this policy, and we already have this, provides for an internet portal through which parents of students enrolled may submit comments to the campuses or district administrators and the board. And we started that at the beginning of this year. It also requires the board to prioritize public comments, presenting parent comments at the beginning of each board meeting, and requires the board meeting to be held outside of typical work. So these are already things that we do. What I would like to say about this one is we would really like everyone to understand the use of the parent portal is a good way for if they have a concern, especially if they have a concern that is not a board on the board agenda, that they can certainly put it in the portal and they will get a response much faster than the non-board agenda meeting times. Okay, if they've gone through all of their conversations with their campus administrators or if they have a concern that doesn't really fit that, but they want to have some discussion about it, that portal will get them quick response. So plug for the internet portal that we have put up, please. So that is FA. Also under FA, it talks about the new student club rule where you have to have parental consent for any of the student clubs. So that's also found there, and that's also a difference from prior FA policies. FFG, the changes in FFG, student welfare, child abuse and neglect, are most about the report of suspected abuse timeline. That has moved up. It didn't used to be 24 hours. It was 48 hours, and it has moved up to report suspected abuse or neglect within 24 hours of knowing. And so all of us are mandatory reporters, and so that timeline is faster than it's been before. All right. FOD. There's some changes in FOD. Student discipline and expulsion is what, and there's a couple of things that we'd like to talk about on that. One of them is the consideration of virtual education as an alternative to expulsion. We are right now looking into that option because we're looking at virtual education for not only that option, but also some other options to capture some of our students who that would fit best for. So, but virtual education as an alternative to expulsion is a possibility, and that's in FOD. It talks about how when you are sending those students that are expelled under certain areas, which ones can be considered for that instead of we usually expel to DAEP here in Granbury. So And one more. We have to ensure that to the extent practicable, the virtual setting, the virtual expulsion program complies with the requirements for a disciplinary alternative education program. So that's part of our decision-making for what virtual program we are going to look into. All right, I'm ready for G. We're getting close to the end. Community and governmental relations. GKA legal talks about the refusal of entry. This is mostly about our new law for our sports officials, but actually it extends to the campus proper. A school administrator, school resource officer, or district peace officer may refuse to allow persons to enter, or may eject a person from a property under our control if the person refuses to leave peaceably upon request, and they pose a substantial risk of harm, or they're behaving in a manner that's inappropriate for the school setting. We have to, if we are not a school athletic official, we do have to issue them a verbal warning, and the person has to persist in that behavior. And if they persist, then we may eject them off of our property. The verbal warning and person's persistence are not required for anyone serving as a referee or a judge at a UIL if it got really spicy at the spelling bee or something like that. So that's a new one there that especially is going to be interesting probably in the sports realm. And so those are the ones that I picked to go over. So right now we're going to update the policy and post. We're going to tell TASB that we're ready for our legal policy to post. We're going to review our local policy updates at the board meeting and revise them as necessary. We'll bring all of the different local ones that are changing because the legal policies are changing. You'll have a lot of time to look at all 143 of them or however many it is. And then we can adopt the local policy at the February board meeting with any revisions that you think are necessary. So that's the next steps. Do you have any questions for me? There's a lot more. These were just the top 12. So
I think that the idea that you all are going to be able to have the local policies ready for us for the January meeting is extraordinary.
For your review.
Still, even for it to be at the point for our review, that's extraordinary.
Okay. Well, you could, I think that all of you have access on your board policy online. You can start looking at the whole update and you can start digging in right now if you'd like. But we are going to have some discussions in January about some of those local policies. There are some that need revision. And so I do, your nice Saturday morning coffee time, if that's what you want to do with it, look at that and see what revisions you want us to have. Because if you bring them to us in January, that'll make it really easy. Any other questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks.
All right, our next item is discussion and take action to approve the 2026-2027 GHS course catalog. Stephanie McKeithen.
Good evening. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the school board. Thank you for having me this evening. My name is Stephanie McKeithen, and I'm the Academic Associate Principal at Granbury High School. Tonight, I am bringing forward our recommendations for the course catalog additions for the 26-27 school year. The Granbury ISD Board of Trustees approves the high school course catalog as part of its authority to approve the district's curriculum and courses of study under Board Policy EHAA Local and Texas Education Code 28.002. In order to make these recommendations to the board, a small leadership team made of GHS and GISD administrators, along with campus counselors, met to review and draft these proposed course additions to the GHS course catalog. These proposed recommendations are being made in order to expand our current course offerings to ensure alignment with our campus and district goals, our student enrollment needs, as well as local and state graduation requirements. I'm going to begin with our academic our proposed academic course catalog additions. The first course is our AP Pre-Cal course. This is being proposed in order to accommodate our larger AP enrollment numbers. This is also indicative of our need to have an AP Pre-Calculus option for our GHS students. Pre-Calculus in high school is one of the greatest indicators of student success and completion of a bachelor's degree in post-secondary education. And it is also as a means to continue to diversify our offerings for our students and increase our CCMR accountability indicator. Our second proposed course is creative writing. This will offer a valid English 4 substitute to meet our diverse needs at GHS. It will help to prioritize the recursive writing process required for success in college and career readiness, and allows for flexible assessment alignment to TELPOS writing and CCMR measures. Our next proposed academic course is College Prep Math. This will again allow us to provide additional opportunities for students to gain CCMR status. College Prep English is another course that is being proposed. This will also provide additional opportunities for our students to gain CCMR status. Finally, our last academic course addition is our Lead-Worthy course. This is a course that will help to strengthen our school climate and culture. It aligns with our campus and district goals and initiatives with CKH and helps to promote future readiness skills for all of our students. For our proposed CTE course catalog additions, our first course is Kinesiology 1. This is being proposed to increase our course offerings for student interest in exercise sports science. This provides an alternate route in lieu of traditional medical or nursing avenues. Our second course that we are proposing is Construction Technology 1. This is the second course in the construction pathway that was begun this school year, so this is just the natural progression for that particular pathway. Our third course is Advanced Culinary Arts. This is similar to our practicum course that is currently being offered. The TEKS of this course are aligned to an in-house practicum experience, and this will better serve students who do not have an internship placement off campus. Entrepreneurship 1, this will allow us to shift away from content-specific marketing courses in order to help broaden the umbrella in our business and marketing pathways for our students. It complements our practicum and entrepreneurship class that was added last year as well. AP Business and Personal Finance. This is a new course that is being brought forward by College Board. This would allow us to diversify and expand our business pathway. We are not quite sure just yet how TEA will place this or if they will approve it like they have done most other AP courses. Personal financial literacy is a requirement of House Bill 27, and we are hopeful that this course will qualify to meet that requirement. If not, we would like to offer this as a local credit in hopes of giving more students opportunities for college credit and CCMR status through AP exams. Our final CTE course is our Forensic Science 2 course. This will help us meet the demand for our enrollment within this pathway. Currently, we have 150 plus students in Forensics 1, and this is also a science credit course that is offered at the high school. Overall, these courses are being added as a way to continue to diversify our course offerings, promote academic excellence in college and career readiness. It aligns with all district and campus strategic goals, and it helps support our continued measures to increase state accountability ratings at the high school. Our CTE courses, we want to continue to diversify all of the opportunities that we provide for our students, and these offerings will help to meet some of the enrollment trends or new TEA graduation requirements. It also supports any shifts or additions of courses in pathway progressions and provides additional avenues for student practicum opportunities that don't currently exist. What questions do you have for me?
Stephanie, I've got one.
Yes, sir.
And I look at the credit offerings for all the courses. There are some that are 1 credit. I believe most of them are 1 credit, and there's only one that's 2 credits. There's one that's a half credit. What's the difference in the differentiation for those credit offerings?
for different credit offerings.
Yes,
So for your advanced culinary and or your construction technology, those are offered in 1 or 2 credit increments. Oftentimes these courses are double blocked, which allows us to offer more than 1 credit for a course.
Thank you.
I'm very excited about the courses that you're adding in the CTE area. I think that starting in to get more into the construction is going to be exactly what our businesses around here are looking for. And we have a good percentage of our kids that are not going to go to college. And having this as another area for them to get in CTE is really great. And the entrepreneur, real excited about that. And I know the number, like you said, the number of children that we right now have in Forensic Science 1, that they want more. So having that for a 12th grade, really think that y'all did a good job looking at what the community needs and what our students need. And it was really a great addition. Thank you for the work.
Thank you.
I just want to echo what Ms. Townsend said. I've seen the benefits in my girls' lives of what the CTE program is. I'm a big fan of it. Thank you for what you're doing to expand that program for our kids.
All right, Stephanie, thank you so very much for your presentation.
Thank
It was
you.
well done. Well done. Okay,
So
we're
we
going
will-
to entertain a motion.
So moved. I move that we approve the course catalog.
All right, I have a motion and I need a second.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Barbara and a second by Calvin. All those in favor, raise your hand. All right, the motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Was that right? Oh, Tim. That was Tim. Oh, y'all shared it? Okay. We like to share. Okay. All right, thank you very much for that. We'll move on to discussion and possible action to approve a temporary construction easement offer over GISD property in Hood County. Emmett.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Board, in front of you, you do have the temporary construction easement that's offered to GISD by Atmos Energy Corporation. It's approximately 1,500 square feet in the southeast corner of the Bronner property. It's actually pretty much closer to a piece of house property than it is to our campus. But they did approach us, and there is a resolution in there allowing Dr. Morosky to negotiate the contract. It's for 2 years. They do expect it to only last about 12 months, and they'll have it finished. They will pay us $2,000 for that temporary easement. You do have the Exhibit A. It shows where that particular easement is. There is a resolution in there that you will have to state verbatim, word for word in minutes. Included with the easement that we did have, our legal team did have a side letter agreement where they will provide insurance. They are self-insured, so they are covered by that. They will also we are also requiring fencing to go around it so that it will be safe. The legal teams went back and forth. They accepted all of our red line. They didn't have any problem with it. So we're just being good partners with them to get everything like we need it and like they need it so they can get their work done and it's safe for our students.
Okay.
But you will have to read like I said, the resolution word for word. It's kind of long, but it's required.
All right.
Madam Vice President, I move that we let Stuart read into the record.
The attorney do that. Gee, thanks. Can I ask a question first?
Certainly.
The location of this easement, does it in any way impact operations at the school?
Absolutely not, sir. In fact, Hussein went and took a picture and I sent it to Dr. Morosky. It's out of the way of the playground. It's actually, like I said, it's closer to a residence than it is to any operations of the school district. It's not even close to the playground.
Was Hussein in the photograph he took?
He was not, sir.
Also, I did ask if it was within our playground fences, and it is not. It is outside of our playground fences.
All right, do we have a motion?
Madam Vice President, I'll make the motion that the Board of Trustees approve the resolution which reads as follows. Whereas the Granbury Independent School District in quotes, the district received an offer to sell the following temporary construction easement property to wit, in quotes, the easement to Atmos Energy Corporation, quotes, Atmos, approximately 1,500 square feet at Bronner Elementary School, as more fully described in Exhibit A, attached hereto and incorporated herein. Whereas the district desires to sell the easement to Atmos, therefore, be it resolved, 1, that the findings and recitals in the preamble of this resolution are hereby found to be true and correct and are hereby approved and adopted. 2, that the Board of Trustees approves the sale of the easement to Atmos and delegates authority to the superintendent to negotiate and execute an agreement, including any other documents necessary to effect the conveyance of the easement. 3, that is hereby found, determined, and declared that sufficient written notice of the date, time, place, and subject of the meeting of the Board of Trustees at which the resolution was adopted was posted at a place convenient and readily accessible at all times to the general public for the time required by law preceding this meeting, as required by Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, and that this meeting has been open to the public as required by law at all times during which this resolution and the subject matter thereof has been discussed, considered, and formally acted upon. The Board of Trustees further ratifies, approves, and confirms such written notice and posting thereof finally passed and adopted this 15th day of December 2025, signed by the Board President.
Second.
Who is that? Was that Tim? All right. We have a motion by Stuart and a second by Tim to approve this resolution to Atmos. All those in favor, raise your hand. It is approved 6-0. Those against, 0. All right. This is approved 6-0. Thank you all. We will move on to reports. Strategic Plan, Capturing Kids' Heart update, Carla Wilman.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Moravsky. I'm going to be giving the Capturing Kids' Hearts update. Then our goals of the update are to review the district's progress of implementation, to demonstrate how our investment in CKH is fostering a safe, supportive, and connective learning environment, to connect CKH to our strategic plan, priority 1, and report on how CKH is a proactive approach to reducing bullying. So this is our CKH journey on a timeline, but before even what I put on the timeline happened, back in fall of 2022, our secondary principals came to, I believe, Stacy Brown and identified a need for character and relationship initiative due to several substantial or severe incidents that occurred that year. So in spring of 2023, we started researching different character building program options and determined that CKH was best to fit our needs that we had. And we implemented in 23-24 school year with secondary. We started the CKH implementation then with just our secondary. And that spring, we were super excited because STARS and AMS within their first year received the CKH Rising Star Award. And then the following year, 24-25, our elementaries began the implementation of CKH. And that same year, all 5 of our elementary campuses and Emma Robertson, if you'll remember, were all named CKH Rising Star. And we were so pumped because our STARS campus was named National Showcase School, and that's the highest honor you can get from CKH. Capturing Kids' Hearts gave us a grant in this year as well. In September of 2025, that grant paid for our Culture Shapers training, which was for all support staff, our bus drivers, our cafeteria workers, our extended school day workers. And so they have the same language now as all of our classroom teachers in our campuses for Capturing Kids' Hearts. And then CKH also gave us a grant for your school board training that you guys had last week. So Our GISD principals collectively establish district-wide non-negotiables to ensure consistency across the campuses. And you can see those in the upper left-hand corner. There's 4 non-negotiables that every school does. Then below that, we have our CKH Word of the Month for December. And each month we highlight a different character word, and our counselors and advisory or quest teachers deliver character lessons reinforcing those character traits. This month it's responsibility, and that's to own your thoughts, words, and actions. Then to the right, we have our poster that further supports the alignment and consistency of CKH. And this was created by Ryan Payne, one of our CTE teachers and GHS process champions. And our process champions are like our campus cheerleaders, motivators. They keep the energy going with capturing kids' hearts. And he went on a campus visit, saw something similar, and he created this, and it's now displayed in every single one of our classrooms, pre-K through 12th grade. The teachers refer back to it, so it's just creating that common, those common procedures and language all throughout the district. CKH focuses on building relationships, which you can tell impacts discipline in a positive way. This is our secondary discipline data for out-of-school suspension and in-school suspension, and all areas have declined since the implementation of CKH. Elementary discipline has shown improvement as well. Since the implementation last year, both out-of-school and in-school rates, in-school suspension rates are on track to be lowered this year. Also, our bullying reports that parents and students can access through our website are down 85% in the 25-26 school year from the number of the reports that were filed last year. So in your board book that you received, it was a different chart. I pulled numbers today because originally our survey was supposed to close today, but CKH has extended it a little bit for us, but I wanted you to have the most up-to-date numbers. So if you'll refer to your screen, I've got the comparison for the last 3 years, and this is from our middle of the year survey for CKH, and this is from our family results. And over the past 3 years, our family survey results have continued to rise, showing families overwhelmingly feel welcome, connected, and confident in their child's school experience. And I was talking to our CKH strategist, Nikki Shipley, the other day, and she said GISD's family feedback is truly exceptional, some of the best scores that CKH has seen. So that was very exciting. Then we can move on to our staff survey. And this reflects meaningful growth in almost every measure as well. And this shows district-wide climate and culture has improved significantly, and it's just a collective celebration so we can see what's happening over GISD. Our principals shared an overwhelming number of examples of how CKH is transforming their campuses, and I wish I could showcase them all, but we just put a few here. This is from secondary campuses. First, in the to your left, that's from Acton Middle School, and they just were highlighting how small moments that happen every day by implementing CKH strategies have really changed their campus culture. In the middle, we've got a Granbury High School Facebook post about responsibility, our character trait for this month. Up in the right-hand corner, we've got Granbury Middle School is doing affirmations and filling each other's buckets with little notes. They also did some service projects. And then the bottom part is from STARS BTC, and those are their student leaders who are leading their launches and different aspects of CKH. Ms. Rodriguez, the principal from STARS BTC, said, because of our consistent commitment to CKH, our campus is a place where relationships thrive, students feel connected quickly, and learning can take root. Here's some more great examples of how our elementary campuses are using CKH to shape their culture and make everyone feel welcome and want to smile as soon as they get on their campus. We already heard from Oakwoods, but right up at the top at the left, they've got student to-student affirmations that they write in their journals, I think daily. Then we have a couple of examples of Facebook posts from Emma Robertson Early Learning Academy, and from Bronner. Then if you move to the right, we've got from Membrino their daily dose of something good. Every day they start off with good things, and that's amazing. Down at the bottom, we have positive phone calls and service projects from AES. And if you move over to the bottom left, Bacchus is highlighting their social contracts and character awards. Dr. Pageant said, capturing kids' hearts has made a meaningful impact at Bacchus Elementary. Most importantly, our commitment to the process has supported academic growth, helping Bacchus move from a C campus to a B campus in accountability with significant gains in student progress. As you can see, capturing kids' hearts is making a strong positive impact in our district. It directly supports our strategic plan by strengthening priority 1.3, that's safety, well-being, and connection, while proactively reducing bullying and ensuring that students feel valued and supported. What questions do you have?
Any questions from the board? Great job.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's doing a great job, and we enjoyed the presentation that we had the other night. It was very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Coach McCoy. Yeah. It was fun. All right, let's move on. We have a strategic plan update, the annual technology report. Brent Wilson.
I'll figure it out. So Dr. Morosky, ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you for having me. Twice a year I get to come up here and stand in front of you. One is to ask for money. The other is to tell you about our technology plan and what it is. So according to TEA, district technology plans must be based on district goals and needs and aligned with E-rate requirements, the No Child Left Behind Act requirements, and the TEA Long-Range Plan for Technology. Technology plans are required in order for an organization to participate in an E-rate. So how does technology help? So 89% of all teachers believe that technology used in the classroom enhances student learning. They believe it maximizes a child's potential, it fosters creativity, it enhances collaboration, and allows the students to communicate effectively and think critically. In this slide, you'll see a snapshot both of our student devices and our student counts, and understanding that these device counts are both staff and student devices. So in order to safely administer a one-to-one district, we need to have at least 20% more devices than we do students. And this is just like a repair allotment, because we know walking through the hallways, these things get knocked over, keyboards get popped off, and things of that nature. And if we look at our district as a whole, as an asset replacement life cycle, this is a quick snapshot of recommendations of what we should do if we had all the finances in place to replace the devices across the district. This is the things that we juggle on a daily basis. And as technology, our main focus is to minimize our digital footprint. We want to teach staff and students about online safety. We use filters and alerts through our SIPA filter to teach kids how to be responsible, to be safe, to be respectful, how to be legal and ethical. And these alerts go to the campus principals and counselors to redirect children that are getting off task. And then one of my favorite sites, cybersecurity. Love it so much. So once a month, we send annual simulations for phishing training. These are geared emails trying to trick you into clicking on something that you're not supposed to. The whole intent and purpose of this is to guide you on how to detect, assess, report, and address. And if you look at the little screen image on the right, we have, in December alone, greater than 41,000 network intrusion prevention blocks. This is on a per minute basis. And more than 35 attempted administrative access gains from outside the district. And again, this is on a per minute basis. In the screenshot you see is 568,608 attempts over 5 minutes, and 86 people trying to get into our system in 5 minutes. So in summary, as technology evolves and our district grows, we must continually monitor and adjust our resources for all grade levels on a regular basis. Technology must support teachers as they move from simply believing in the power of technology to leveraging it in the classroom. And the technology plan is a living document. It's evaluated semi-annually to ensure goals and objectives remain aligned. Do you have any questions? It's a good try.
Thank you.
Brent wins the Best Sweater Award.
All right, we appreciate that very much.
Hey, are we broadcasting live? Okay. I got a few text messages that we're not.
Okay. All right, we will move along now to we're already at financial statements.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Board, in front of you, you do have the financials for the month ending November 30th, 2025. The statement includes only those transactions between September 1st, 2025 and November 30th, 2025. Revenue collected to date is 26.53% of the budgeted amount compared to 10.39% in 24 and 25. Expenditures to date represent 25.98% of the budget as compared to 27% of the budget in 24-25. The only outstanding thing on those financials you'll see is under state funding, and that has to do with that $16.8 million that's still hanging out there that we're going to wait and see how that kind of works itself out because they're netting that against our state revenue or for this year, with that they've kind of already overpaid us a little bit, and it's going to kind of flow over into next year. But we're still collecting that interest revenue, so we're going to just let that ride and let it work for us again. And I can move straight, and if you have any questions, I can answer those, or I can move straight on into cash flow. Okay. The next report you have in front of you is the cash flow report for November 30th, 2025. You can see that for this month, we did earn $218,531 in interest. Last year at this time for November, we earned $116,000. And that is attributed to that $16.8 million. And for the total for this year at this point, we've earned $641,654.97 total. And at this point last year, we only had $409,695. So $695. So we're ahead of the game still because of the $16.8 million that we're having work for us. And that is your cash flow and investment report.
Fantastic. Great job. We should. All right, with no further business, our meeting is adjourned at 8:07.